15 signs to know if you're falling out of love. Falling in love is almost like a slap in the face, but when it comes to falling out of love, that can be a bit of a sticky situation that can leave everyone confused. It's a tough situation to deal with when you've found that you no longer have the same feelings for the person you've devoted part of your life to. Making a clean break from a relationship is what you should aim for when you start to have other feelings. Don't mess around with other people before you close the doors on this part of your life because it's not worth it. Everyone needs to move on equally and in their own way, so give yourself a fresh start to do so, as well as one for your partner. These 15 signs are the red flags you need to be aware of before continuing a failing relationship. The breakup doesn't have to be horrible, but you should have a decent conversation about how you really feel once you notice these signs. Be yourself and don't lie to someone you've dedicated your own time, love, and care towards. You both deserve better than that. Have you felt these signs before, or have you noticed others that gave you a bit of warning when it came down to figuring out how your relationship would be in the future? 15 You have fallen for someone else. This will probably be the biggest and most obvious sign when you start to realize that you might not have the same feelings about your partner that you used to have. When those feelings start shifting and you start falling for someone else, that's not great. It is probably time to put the brakes on your relationship and really sit down to figure out what needs to be changed and what you can do to move forward in your life. You don't want to waste your boyfriend's time since you care about him and have been dating him this long. So hopefully you will talk with your partner and really discuss the next steps so you two can move on without wasting any more time with the relationship. Just be open and honest, and it will most likely not be as big of a deal as you might be expecting, and you will both be much better off. 14 You don't care about little things. When you no longer feel like you want to go out of your way to make your partner happy, it might be time to really evaluate what the problem is. It might not be something that has to do with them, or it could be something with you that you need to focus on. Either way, you should let your partner know so you can both work on the issue together and figure out what needs to happen. Something as small as no longer sending cute good morning texts to your partner or checking up on them when they're having their lunch break at work is never a positive habit to form when trying to build a relationship to be stronger and durable. If you feel this kind of pressure, like having a chore to accomplish when you're simply texting your partner, you might want to start the conversation about moving on from the relationship altogether, for everyone's sake. 13 You have wandering eyes. The moment that you start noticing people and feeling attracted towards other people, it's not a good sign. It shows how far you are from a serious relationship, and it's not a pleasant thing to do behind your partner's back. Break off your relationship and most importantly be honest with them about what has been happening. Depending on how they react, you'll most likely have your answer. The moment you start to look at other people when you go about your day, that should really tell you that you're no longer invested in your relationship and it should be cut off. It's not fair to continue a relationship when you're already looking at other people in a passionate way. How is that fair to your partner? Just cut it off. Cut off the relationship. Try to be understanding and hopefully you'll receive the same. Don't do anything that you wouldn't want done to you when in a relationship. 12 You seem more like friends. If you've noticed that you're not as passionate around each other anymore, that might prove that you have fallen out of love with your boyfriend. It's not a good feeling any way you go about it, but it is possible to move forward with both of your lives. You should be best friends with your partner. But when it reaches the point of it only being a best friend kind of relationship, it's an immediate red flag. Being best friends with your partner is such an amazing thing, but when you're lacking all intimacy and personal connection and comfort you usually have with your partner, things can turn sour quickly. It's just simply not fair when it comes to your partner to take away that aspect of the relationship, and I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want your partner to do that to you in a relationship. Just think it through and make your choice. 11 You don't make future plans. When you're in a serious relationship, you and your boyfriend absolutely have to talk about the future. When you've already talked about the plans with your partner, then suddenly neither one of you never brings them up or daydreams together, it could be a red flag. You should be building something together, whether that's a family or sharing your career goals or just deepening your connection. If there's just no excitement for the future either on your part, his part or both of your parts, that's not a good sign. It can be hard to see eye to eye on situations and when you're having certain conversations. The ability to grow as a couple will pretty much cease to exist when it gets to this drastic point. To move forward and really figure out if you're falling out of love, discuss how you both feel and just be honest for the millionth time. 10. You think communication is a chore. Communication shouldn't be a chore if you're with someone you really love with all of your heart. Communication is the driving force behind extremely strong relationships, so it is definitely something that should be cherished and maintained so you know what is happening and how both of you feel at any given time. Communication generally starts to lack a bit when one person in the relationship isn't dedicating enough effort to the other individual because of a lack of care or lack of interest. Communication is really what will make or drastically break a relationship, even if you think it's unbreakable and as strong as can be. If you don't communicate what you want out of the relationship, you're basically signing yourself up for trouble. Take careful steps and be very transparent about how you feel. Either work on communication, or if you feel like it's not worth it, just move on and go your separate ways. 9. You have other motives for staying. If you find yourself staying in a relationship because of other reasons besides love, such as money or recognition, that is definitely the wrong choice for you to be making. Not only will that just waste your own time, but it will waste your partner's time as well. If you find yourself scheming when your partner is away, or trying to get the most out of the relationship before you break it off, even if you know that you won't be with this person for your whole life, your partner deserves to know that and decide if they want you in their life. That's only fair. You would be surprised at how often there are people out there who want that kind of easy relationship. There's no harm in breaking off your own to be with someone who really does understand your wants and needs. If you have other motives and decide to neglect telling your partner, that mess will be on you and you only. 8. There's no passion anymore. Passion is a serious motive in any relationship. It's what keeps the gears turning year after year, and it's what brings you close to your partner and proves that you have a super strong connection. If there is a lack of passion, you need to step away from the situation and really take time to face it head on as soon as possible. You need to be strong and really think about why this change has happened, and it needs to be resolved for both of you. Not only is communication extremely important when it comes to the delicate dynamic of a relationship, but passion is a crucial player as well. Passion is the element in a serious relationship that sparks the fire that keeps you both balanced with each other and wanting to constantly learn more about each other every day for years and years. If you no longer feel the spark, chances are the passion is gone and you're falling out of love. 7. You think about other possibilities. When you find yourself thinking of other dreams with other people, or how things might have turned out differently if you went and dated someone else or if you kept dating your ex, you should know these toxic thoughts are a big red flag. And it proves that you are feeling like you have fallen out of love with your partner. If you find yourself thinking about what your life would be like if you were with anyone but the partner you're currently with, it's time to face fate and accept the fact that you're not as happy as you want to be in your current relationship. It doesn't make you a bad person for wanting something different in your life. Everything changes eventually. And if this is the change you need and you find yourself falling out of love, just accept the fact and become stronger from this life lesson and experience. You can do it. 6. Fights don't get resolved. When fights don't get resolved and you both end up shutting down, it might be time to shut down the relationship and quit while you're ahead. When fights don't get resolved, it tends to be because of a lack of care or trust. Just accepting the fight as is and moving on isn't a healthy habit to keep practicing. It can really divide two people and make a person lose their connection to someone when no one is putting in effort to find a resolution. When you're in a serious relationship, fights need to be resolved so you both can reach closure. If you just leave a fight alone until it fizzles out, you'll find yourself lost and feeling many mixed emotions, so you should save yourself the trouble and just find your own happiness, even if that's not in your current relationship. Take a step back and take a deep breath and understand that this is the best choice for you to experience all you can in your life. 5. You have different schedules. Sometimes this happens without thinking and other times it happens on purpose. When you schedule your days, You really have to consider your partner. After all, you're spending your life with them, right? So why wouldn't you? If you find that you're always avoiding them by piling on more work or making plans with your friends instead, then there might be some toxic stuff at play. No matter how busy your schedule is, there should always be time for your significant other. Having different schedules that you can't help is one thing, but you do have to figure that out if you're going to stay together. But when it's a constant choice, it's very easy to make up excuses as to why your schedule is like that. You might not even realize it, but it might end up just being the fact that you do want to spend time without your partner, or that you're avoiding them altogether. Either way, it needs to be addressed before it gets any worse. Plus, who wants to waste that time anyway? ! For you've cheated. Obviously, cheating is just plain evil. It's hurtful, toxic, and totally unnecessary. If you find that you have commitment issues, then you need to reevaluate things before it goes any further and ruins the bond even more. These sorts of issues can ruin any relationship. Why would anyone want that? Commitment issues are never fun to deal with, and they usually always mean that you're about to break up. So before it gets messy, it would be safe to assume you should speak up before pursuing something else with another person. Not only is that what's fair to your partner that has spent part of their life with you, it's just common decency. If you've already cheated or hurt your partner, let them go and move on. Don't hurt them further by being with them just out of guilt. You've fallen out of love and it's time to deal with it. 3. You have different priorities. When you find that you always schedule stupid little tasks instead of spending time with your partner, it should be obvious that something is missing from the relationship. Having different priorities that steal away basically every moment when it comes to finding time to spend with your partner is never a good thing. If you want to have a serious relationship, this isn't the way to do that. When you constantly put other things in front of spending time with your partner and just don't pay attention to them, it can be a very negative and toxic cycle that will not only affect you but obviously your partner as well. I know regardless of my feelings towards my partner, I would never want to put other things before them. You have to dedicate time to them and their relationship and get closer, and if you don't find yourself cherishing that anymore, you're absolutely and definitely falling out of love. 2. Cute habits aren't cute anymore. It's sad to say, but it's true. This usually happens when your relationship isn't at its best. When your partner's snoring or little sneezes, which would normally be cute, aren't anymore, and they start to make you mad or annoyed, those are some serious red flags. And you should definitely pay attention to that. While this might seem petty, it is something that's quite common because when we're in love with someone, it's very easy to find someone's flaws super cute. When those flaws become something negative for you, it's time to take a step back and evaluate what you need to do to move on with your life. This is such a small change that might be glaringly obvious once it begins to happen. When you start to get aggravated by the lack of charm certain habits no longer have, it can be a very hard climb to recover from it, because it's usually too late at this point. You're already falling out of love and it might be best to just move on. 1. You don't sleep together anymore. It should go without saying that a lack of intimacy should be a warning sign that you're falling out of love with your partner. This one is usually the most obvious, and if you've been denying this factor, after reading this list all the way through, I can only hope that you finally see all the warning signs and decide to turn back from this toxic behavior. You're not a bad person if you want something more from your relationship and from your life. We all change at some point, and sometimes we realize that our partner isn't on the same page, and that's nothing negative against them either. We're all on our own journey. There's nothing wrong with going separate ways and building our lives how we really want them. Just be honest with yourself and with those around you and accept that you're falling out of love. Just be yourself and do it for yourself. Looking for an AD-free experience on the Taco. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos.